Ladies and gentlemen, Geri Petito.
I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
When you don't know just what to do.
Just what to do, just what to do.
If what you're feeling is really true.
Is it really true? Is it really true?
Just keep your ideas safe and sound.
Safe and sound, safe and sound.
That's exactly how change is found.
Change is found, change is found. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Geri Petito Show. Everyone and anyone who knows me knows I am the author of I'm Not an Addict, I'm Just an Ass. I'd rather be a smartass than a dumbass, guys, because 32 years ago, I was a dumbass. But today, 32 years later, through the grace of God, I can honestly say now I'm a smartass. And yes, the word ass is in the Bible at least 40 times, and it means donkey. And that's what I was. I'm saying all that to say this, guys. We've all had the roughest few years of our lives, all over the world, not just here. And unfortunately, a lot of people didn't make it. I had family and friends through addiction who didn't make it. So I want everyone out there to know that someone is listening. I am here for you. I'm a recovery coach. I'm a nutritional health coach. All my services to you are free. Okay, guys? And if you think my book can help someone, you can get it through Amazon, Barnes & Noble. It's everywhere. You can go to my website, www.geripetito.com. You could order it from there. And guys, listen, if you truly, truly cannot afford the book but really need it, please reach out to me about that as well, okay? Please go to the Geri Petito Show YouTube channel and subscribe. There's a lot of great things happening. I want to, excuse me, I've had some issues with my throat. I want to thank two of my sponsors, okay? Anthony Hudson, guys, presidential candidate 2024, and his slogan is, People Before Politics. I had the honor, including my producer here, Ruben, from Iron Horse Films. We met him in February down at the borders in Yuma, Arizona. We went to all 4 or 5 borders, okay? It changed my life. In the 80s, I was at the wall in Russia, and I was at the wall in China, and I had machine guns pointed at me. So I wasn't afraid to go here, but I'm going to share something with you. I think I was more afraid of seeing all these poor children than I was getting guns pointed at me years ago, okay? I hugged these children, and so did Anthony Hudson. So he's done right now what our president hasn't, okay? And he was also now down south helping them with this horrendous storm they had, okay? So Anthony Hudson, People Before Politics, please, please check him out. Also, Brian Buckenfuso. Everyone in Mercer County knows him as Bucky. He's a retired police officer who's running for the second time, okay, for Mercer County Sheriff. Guys, I know him personally. I've known him, 30 years, okay, 25 years, whatever it's been. And I'm here to tell you that this guy is on the up and up. He's amazing, and he needs to be in office. So check him out as well, okay? Everybody knows him as Bucky. Having said that, I have a very cool guest with me today, okay? I am going to introduce him, and I hope I say his name perfectly. Right here, guys, Michael Penchenski.
Very good.
All right, how are you?
Good. Good to see you again, Geri.
You too. So, Michael, tell everyone a little bit about why you're here.
Well, the New Jersey State ELKS Association is one of the best kept secrets, and it shouldn't be. Often we're asked, hey, what are the ELKS about? Or, what do they do? And we don't do a lot of advertising. We don't have television commercials or radio commercials, and it's more or less a word of mouth because you have to be sponsored in it, so someone needs to know you. And we're very old school fundamental. We believe in the old school fundamental beliefs. You have to believe in God. And we don't discriminate, but we have a chaplain in our lodge, and we say a prayer before our banquets, very brief, but everybody needs to be on the same page. So if you're a private club, so you can set your own standards. And we are also, which may not be in favor these days, we're extremely patriotic.
Okay.
The ELKS were instrumental in instituting Flag Day in our country. They lobbied for that. And we were also one of the founders of the first Red Cross hospital in World War I. And a charitable organization, that's what we're about. So our profits, whether we sell food or to our members, if we have a club license, a beverage, then those profits don't go to the owner of a restaurant, who, God bless him. I appreciate entrepreneurial and capitalism, and I'm grateful to be in this country that those things exist. But if we make a profit, it doesn't go to the owner's Maserati. It goes to veterans, both homeless and local. It goes to special needs children, which this New Jersey State ELKS Association owns a state-of-the-art camp for special needs children that runs from June to September. And there are kids, the pool is specially designed for wheelchairs. There are 1 to 2 counselors 24/7 for every child. And they are there for a week. It is the highlight of their year, these kids. And there's never a penny charged to the child or the family. There's a nurse on duty 24/7 in shifts, and it is just absolutely gorgeous up in the mountains of New Jersey. And we go up there, and once a week at each district, there's 12 districts, so 12 weeks. We go up there on Sunday afternoons, we give the kitchen staff the night off, and we do a barbecue or pizza party, and I bring up my DJ equipment, and we play music for them, and they have a ball. And it touches your heart, I gotta tell you. Another thing we do is, with our vets, is we have a welcome home kit. So when a veteran's ready to get out of the VA hospital, they coordinate with a group called Soldier On. And we add to them finding a place, an apartment for them to live. We make sure it's stocked with a bed, a mattress, living room, food in the refrigerator if it's needed, washcloths, toothbrush, the medicine cabinet, the kitchen cabinet, the refrigerator, television, where he's not just moving into an empty apartment, so that's our side of it. And every district does several of those a month, and I've been fortunate, a good friend of mine in our district runs it, Bob Mitchell, and he's a past exalted ruler from my lodge as well. And he invited me along, and it's really touched my life. It really means, it's great to see that, you know?
My daughter's grandfather, God rest his soul, he was a ELKS member. My daughter's born in 1980, so we had every party there for
Yeah.
years and years, and, you know, it was just an amazing organization.
Yeah, that's the fraternal end. So a lot of people wind up joining because you're going to make a whole bunch of friends,
Sure.
and like-minded friends. And we take an oath that we will never introduce anything of a political or sectarian character into the lodge. So all the tumultuous arguments that are out there in society are left at the door, and we don't bring that in. And we were founded in 1868. So now in 1868 was a tumultuous time. It was the end of the Civil War. A whole bunch of immigrants were coming into the country, and it was a very difficult time for Americans. And the ELKS brought them together, different people in New York. It was started by a group of actors who, because of the blue laws, all the restaurants and bars were closed on Sunday. So they're only actors and singers and performers. The only place they had to go was the attic of their rooming house. So they would get a keg of beer and a jug of brandy and a leg of lamb and a sack of potatoes and have a party up there. And as that, yeah.
I have to interrupt you, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's all right.
Okay. You're talking about in 1868?
Yep, yep.
So wait, all right, wait. So they had kegs of beer in 1868?
Oh, sure.
They did all this stuff?
The Egyptians had beer.
Okay,
Yeah,
but they
back
did
in-
all this stuff?
They did all this stuff because it was their only day off, and everything was closed because of the blue laws back then. So after a while, their number grew so big that their landlady said, either you take this party somewhere else, or you're all going to find another place to live in the rooming home. So they rented a flat, and their numbers grew. It just spread like wildfire. And then the following February, one of their members died of pneumonia, leaving a widow and two small children. So they said, you know what? If we all chip in a quarter, which was a lot of money in 1868.
A quarter.
A quarter.
Go ahead.
If we chip in a quarter and this guy puts in a dime and somebody has a buck, because they had grown to about 15 to 20 of them at that point, we can take care of our buddy's widow and children, pay their rent, and give them a sack of food once a week. And they loved that. And they said, you know what? Let's stop being a bunch of guys who get together and clown around and just have drinks. Let's keep that aspect of it and eat and break bread, but let's become a charitable organization. So they started to look in various museums and art houses for a theme. And they came up with the majestic elk, which they saw in a museum. And the plaque on the elk said that it would never attack, only defend. And they liked that. So we became the Benevolent and Protective Order of Elks.
You just blew my mind. I love interesting facts about things from back then and when they were started, but I had no idea
Yeah.
it was that long ago.
Yeah, and they quickly grew. Then the charters started. Philadelphia asked to have a charter. That was lodge number 2. Lodge number 1 was in Manhattan. And lodge number 3, San Francisco, which is still in existence, and it's a gorgeous lodge. Right on the water, they have a beautiful hotel. And they grew. So my little lodge in JAMESBURG, I grew up in New York City, and I would watch the Andy Griffin Show and say, wow, I wish I grew up in a small town.
Yep.
But when I retired, I got that opportunity to move. I'm in Monroe, right on the outskirts of JAMESBURG. And JAMESBURG is less than 1 square mile. Everybody knows everybody. It's a real sense of community. And we get together at the lodge and help the less fortunate, or maybe someone who's had a real good time but is not going through a good time right now. You know, maybe their life has been okay, but now it's not so much and they need some help and some assistance. Every Thursday from April, just the end of April, all the way to Christmas, we provide a hot lunch for any veteran or first responder who walks in the door, retired or active, from approximately 10:30, 11 o'clock to about 12:30, 1 o'clock. And these gentlemen and ladies, and they get together, they have some hot homemade soup and maybe chicken and mashed potatoes. It's a different thing every week, and there's never a charge, and they get to talk about the old days.
That's so great.
And yeah, and it's really nice. They get together once a week, and some of them, you know, that might be their entire social lives, you know. The Elks really helped me with my social life. So as I told you earlier, Jerry, I'm 4th generation NYPD from my great-grandfather on, and that kind of becomes your life. You know, there was no one in my family that I didn't know who wasn't a cop or a fireman in New York City. And all of your friends become cops after a while because of your hours and the shared experiences. And now they've upped it to 25, but in my day, 1981 to 2001, in 20 years, you're out kind of a young guy in your early 40s, and what are you going to do? So I had 2 young children at home, and my wife said, instead of going out and getting another job and hiring someone to take care of them, you have a pension. And she still works. She was a New York City cop as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I know, my little brother. So when I retired, my little brother took my shield, and I carried my grandfather's. So we passed that down, too.
Amazing.
And I raised my children. But as anyone knows, you know, they grow up and leave the nest. And the Elks filled that sense of camaraderie and fellowship and community purpose for me. So that really filled a big void in my life that was missing. And was I going to go out and just get another job and maybe have a slightly nicer car and go on a slightly nicer vacation? You know, so I decided to do community service at my lodge, and I'm there about 4 or 5 days a week helping out, doing things, and it's great. I love it.
Well, that's where we met. That we were at a show. So how often do you guys do shows there?
How do we, what?
Do you do shows?
Oh, do shows, yeah. So we try to do quite a few. We're working on a comedy show now. Of course, we had the Martin and Lewis
That's
show.
right. Angelo Capone.
Yeah, we've had several female impersonator shows that went over really well. And it's local entertainment. So in the Monroe area, there's a lot of 55 and over communities.
Yes.
And of course, they are all on a fixed income. So now they can come to a lodge, and we do a buffet dinner and a show. And where could you go for an all-you-can-eat buffet dinner and a show for $35, $40? And it's a good outlet for them. They have fun. And they're not a crazy wild crowd because they're in the over 55 communities. So we try to get it early in the evening on the weekend. So we're working on the next one now, which we're looking at June, possibly for a comedy show.
Okay.
Yeah. And of course, family-oriented and believing in God. We tell the comedians it's got to be clean humor.
I love that because anyone that I interview, I tell them, keep it clean.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of, comedians that don't know how to do that, but they
Yeah.
will do it for me.
I DJ on the side, and
Okay?
and I always, when I talk to people, I explain to them that if you request a song, I'm going to play the edited version.
Yes.
Because your grandmother's going to be here, and your little cousin's going to be here, and it'll make me feel uncomfortable.
Yes.
And, if that's a problem, let's figure that out now. So I have little
Great.
children, little children, now they're in their
That's great.
20, 29, but they grew up where we didn't have a household where there was cursing, so.
That's so funny. Well, I'm going to share something funny. So my mother's favorite word was the F word. And I don't care. I'm 62 years old, so I'm going way back, right? But they were Italian. I grew up in New York, Long Island City. They used to sit on their chairs outside, and we would play, and everybody knew everybody. They all cursed, but they never cursed. I can't explain it. They would call that bottle of water this effing bottle of water. It wasn't at you, and it wasn't derogatory. It was, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we were never allowed to curse. So I don't curse.
Yeah.
So they would put soap in our mouth if we ever curse. But as they're cursing, it's so funny.
Yeah, but it's the privilege of age. The grandmother could say a word, the mom or dad could say a word, but we didn't. No, we weren't even allowed to say the word hate growing up.
Yeah, no.
See, we were allowed to only hate the devil. That was the only thing.
That's
You couldn't hate your mashed potatoes, but you could hate the devil.
Okay, that's something. So now what you've just said, I mean, everything this guy has said is pretty incredible, right? Across the board with all the Elks Lodge, I mean, like pretty much all the rules are the same. They have to abide by everything, right?
Yeah, so it's a franchise.
Yes.
So, Jerry, if you and I owned 20 McDonald's
Okay.
in the county,
Have to be the same.
we would say, wow, we're like the king of McDonald's. We could do this, we could do that. Well, no, we can't sell hot dogs. We can only sell the McRib when they tell us we can. And these are our hours, and this is our location because it's a franchise. You have the right to operate your franchise in that place and follow these rules. And then everyone benefits. And that's what we try to do. We're to the best. I mean, no one's paid. We're a volunteer organization.
Okay.
So we try to follow all the rules as best we can. And if someone goes astray, we try to do the right thing and with brotherly or sisterly love, take them aside and say, hey, bud, this is not working out this way. We're going to have to tone it down or whatever. Sometimes, like all the TVs are around, and maybe someone we have a club room.
Okay.
For members only, because we have a club license. We can only serve an adult beverage to a member. Okay? Now, a member can bring a guest, but they sign them in and they stay with them, and the guest leaves with them. Okay. So that's our license in the state of New Jersey. I can't speak for other states.
Okay.
So with that being said, if you were watching a crucial football game on TV, and you might have had 2 adult beverages, there's a possibility a little verbiage might pop out once in a blue moon.
Okay.
But if it offends someone, the bartender will come over and say, hey, take it easy. I know your team just won or
Okay.
lost.
Most likely lost.
Yeah, but take it easy, because it is a family place.
Yes.
There's, that's the way we go. And there's very few problems. It's happy. We don't stay open very late either, because the average age of a New Jersey elk hovers somewhere around 60. Because to get really involved, on my level anyway, going there 4 or 5 days a week, and then last night I was in a district meeting in Middletown. When you go to these things and do them, it helps to be retired,
Yeah.
And if you're raising family and going to softball teams, you can still be a member and come down anytime you want. You could just say, hey, you know what, I can only come down once or twice a year, if that. But you take solace in the fact that your dues are going to help so many people in your local
That's right.
community.
That's right.
And they're not. Dues vary in my district between approximately $40 and $80 a year. So it's not a lot of money. It's not a lot of money. So we make it affordable for everyone. And then where we really raise our money is selling food and beverages to our members. And, a member, most lodges have a hall. So if you're going to celebrate your 50th birthday party, you can rent the hall and invite your family down at 1990 prices. And the profits that we do make, again, goes to charity. I mean, we have to keep a little in the bank for stormy weather
Sure.
and pay the electric bill.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but it's great. It really is. And that filled that void of, you identify. My identification was a cop, NYPD. And then I wasn't. And it's like that. Boom. So now, hey, I'm an elk who used to be a cop.
Well, thank you for being a cop, and thank you for your service.
You're welcome. You're welcome. It was great. It was pretty exciting. Sometimes it was like being in Indiana Jones movie, with the big giant boulder coming towards it, So it was pretty exciting.
Wow, okay. So now, I want you to look into the camera, and I want you to talk to other people that you think might be interested in becoming an elk. Tell them why they should.
Okay. So Google your local Elks Lodge. There's 107 currently in New Jersey. Plus, I believe we have a virtual lodge, which is kind of like a internet waiting room, I guess. But go to elks.org. All right, on elks.org, there are Grand Lodge approved videos that are going to do a million times better job than I am. And they're short, 5 minutes, 6 minutes. And there's one called Why We Join. And some people come up and say, I joined because they had that lodge had a fantastic softball league. And they wanted to play softball, or they were on the bowling league, and you had to be an elk for different reasons. And then later on, they switched over for all the charitable aspects. And some people joined because their friend or their father said, hey, I want you to join. But once you get in there, you're going to meet, we also use the BPOE to say best people on earth, because you're going to meet, who else would say, I want to devote some time to charity on a daily, weekly, monthly, or yearly? We tell new members coming in, if you could please, you pay your dues, and that's all you have to do to be an elk for the rest of your life. But you're not going to get as much out of it, and we're not going to get as much out of it, than if you come down and volunteer 5 to 10 hours a year. Now people go, wow, 5 or 10 hours a year, I could do that. And if you don't have a special skills, I cook, at one point I bartended, I run the shows, I help run the shows. But if you don't have a special skill, you could collect tickets at the door. You could, if you can lift a garbage pail. You can take the garbage out that needs to be done every day. There are little jobs around the lodge that need to be done. Selling tickets, coming down just to support an event helps. So, and no one's going to keep a time clock of the hours you put in. And you're going to meet people who are like that, who are going to say, I looked and I said, I have two beautiful, healthy daughters. And I went up to the camp and I saw children who weren't as fortunate. And I said, how do I pay back God for that, So that's why you should join. And then you see a veteran, someone who's, they were in the VA hospital. Some of them were homeless living under bridges. You see them cry when they get an apartment. So that touches you.
So, Michael, veterans, that breaks my heart that this even goes on in this country.
Yeah.
And we were actually talking about them with Anthony. So he has a plan to try to really help them. I'll never understand why we allow it to go on. I just can't. My prayers every day are for the vets.
Yeah.
Okay? They risked their lives for us, and here they are. Most of them are homeless.
Yeah. One of our programs has a slogan. We're going to work with the homeless vets in New Jersey because they're two words that should never go together, homeless and vet.
That's right. I agree.
Yeah.
So, well, I want to thank you for everything that you guys are doing. I mean, it's incredible. I didn't realize the depth of the ELKS when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought, my daughter's grandfather's a member, and we're going to have parties here, and this is
Yeah.
cool. I didn't really get it until I got older.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're one of the very few fraternal charitable organizations that's experiencing membership growth. Because back in the day, you joined the various line organizations. You joined the Knights of Columbus or the Masons or the ELKS, and that helped you get ahead in society and in business because of the connections.
Okay.
And now most of that's done multimedia. You can make your connections through LinkedIn and Facebook and the various, people don't go, I'm joining this organization because the president of my company or my boss belongs to that. That doesn't happen as much anymore.
Okay.
So, but what they are attracted to is the fact that they can go down there on their time when it's convenient for them and then help give back to charity. They say that young kids today, put all the negative aside that people
Okay.
our generation may say.
Okay.
Young kids today will drive a mile out of their way to buy a cup of coffee because it supports a cause they believe in.
Okay.
And that's a good thing about the youth of today, that they're doing that. In my day, I got the cup of coffee that was the easiest to get to me, for me to get to. It wasn't like, this is sponsored that, but
Okay.
so I think that shows a lot of moral turpitude in our youth. And we're also attracting younger people because of that. We have a great youth program. We have and it's free. We have a soccer shoot tournament, a hoop shoot tournament, a batter up tournament, a tee it off tournament, and the kids move up. And we actually have a kid from New Jersey going all the way to the hoop shoot finals in Chicago this year. So we're excited
That's
about it.
very cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
And there's only one entity that gives out more scholarships towards college than the Benevolent and Protective Order of ELKS, and that's the U.S. federal government. So we're proud of that, too.
Wow.
We have, if you go onto elks.org, and you don't have to be an ELK, there are all different kinds of scholarships out there. There are ones for the child or grandchild of an ELK, and there are ones for academic, and there are scholarships just to apply for. And it's nice. Why not? It costs nothing to apply. There's no fee. And maybe you get $1,000 towards books. Maybe you get a full boat to 4 years. That happens too.
So what about, how do they pay for the building?
So we do fundraising,
Okay.
like our shows.
Yep.
So we have our sales of beverages to members. We do hall rentals to members. And we go to the New Jersey state government and we get a license for a raffle. And we have raffles,
Yep.
and that brings in money. And because no one's getting a salary, we can put all the profits to our charities.
That's beautiful.
And what's really interesting is there's ELKS National Foundation. So in the 1920s, a few guys said, let's put money in, I guess what at the time was similar to our mutual funds. And they invested a small amount of money. But if you've ever seen those charts where if you put in money when you're 21 years old, when you're 71, you're rich, but you have to not take it out to buy a car or something. So they did that. And that's ELKS National Foundation. And they give out grants to lodges. You apply for a lodge. You say, I want to do the lunch program for our local vets. And you can apply for a grant, and you save the receipts, and you mail it into them. And you get $8,000 to make lunch throughout the year for them. Or if you have a local child who needs a motorized wheelchair, you can get a grant from ELKS National Foundation. They have that for books, for schools, and all kinds of programs. If there isn't a grant that covers it, then the local lodge just steps in and says, okay, how can we raise money for this kid or this person in our community? We had, maybe 15 years ago, just 2 blocks from our lodge, a family had a fire. And the house was burnt and they were living in a hotel. And we called upon our local community, bring what you can. Well, our hall used to be a movie theater, so it's huge. And it was practically filled, every square inch on the floor, 2 or 3 feet high. Toothbrushes, toothpaste, socks, gift cards, backpacks. We had to wind up, the family couldn't take them all. We had to give it to a local food pantry and some of it to them. So everybody was well stocked for a while. But people want to help each other. It's a basic human trait. And in a small community, the ELKS individual lodge represents a small community within your community.
Wow. Well, you just enlightened me. I can't even tell you, so I want to thank you for that.
My pleasure.
Because, I knew that they did a lot of good, but I didn't really know the extent of it.
Yeah.
So what else would you like to share with everyone?
Let's see. I'm happy that the warm weather's coming.
Yeah.
Being retired, I live in a 55 and over community.
So do I.
In Concordia, and we have a golf course. So I'm looking forward to getting out there and playing once in a while. Enjoy a little bit of being retired, So we're looking forward to, the ELK year is just about to start.
Okay.
And we're having every year you elect officers who run the lodge. And it's a little bit of work for them, but they do a great job, and it's just 1 year, so that it's not a burden for them on and on and on. And we're about ready to install our new elected officers, and we're very excited about that. We'll have a little dinner and a banquet, and then the ELK year marches on. And then we have a convention in Wildwood in June, and that ushers in the state year. And then in July, we have a national convention. This year it'll be in Minnesota, and that ushers in the national year. So you have the local lodge that we all join, then the state organization that encompasses like an umbrella over the 107 lodges in your state, or other states more.
Okay.
And then you have the National ELKS Association that oversees all of them. It's fun. And it's, if you're a history buff and you like old school, then there's something there for you, because we don't usually say, you can't say national president, that's accepted, but we say grand exalted ruler.
Yes, okay.
And that sounds so cool.
It
Or you're the
does.
esteemed leading knight. It's flowery, and the initiation ritual takes about 40 minutes where you go to station, and this was written by the actors in 1868. It's changed a little bit over the years, but it is so dramatic and flowery
Yes, it
and
is. I love
beautiful that it's a lot of fun. It really is. So we have all the new aspects of getting motorized wheelchairs and getting homeless vets off the street and giving out scholarships, but we have all the old school too, and that's a really beautiful blend of the two.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, guys, I hope he touched someone out there to become a member. Because I know there's a lot of people out there listening and thinking, wow, that sounds really great.
ELKS.org.
Yeah.
You can find, they even have it's not necessarily a full-blown membership application, but you can put in your name and contact information, and that will go to the secretary of your closest lodge, and someone will get in touch with you and answer your questions, and let you know, maybe it's a good fit for you, maybe it's not. It's not for everybody, but it's for a lot of people, and it makes me feel better and happier about my life.
Beautiful. Michael, I want to thank you because I appreciate this interview today, and I appreciate you getting out all this and, again, touching me because, again, I didn't know the extent of it. So my prayer will continue not only for our vets, but now even for the Elks Lodges, okay?
Thank you,
Because,
Jen.
no, I mean that from the bottom of my heart because we need more establishments to do what the Elks are doing. So I want to thank you so much. Our door is always open to you. If there's anything later down the road that comes up, okay,
Yeah.
we'll talk about it,
Be great.
okay?
All right.
So everybody, I want to thank you for listening. Please share this. Ruben, take us out.
I think it went well, right?
Where do you want to eat at?
Ladies and gentlemen, Geri Petito.
I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
When you don't know just what to do.
Just what to do, just what to do.
If what you're feeling is really true.
Is it really true? Is it really true?
Just keep your ideas safe and sound.
Safe and sound, safe and sound.
That's exactly how change is found.
Change is found, change is found. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.